All right. Welcome back, everybody. So this one is a suggested video by Cloudhopper9003. So feel free to comment, like, subscribe, put any suggestions in the comments, and I will go over them. I think I'm going to try to do one person's suggestion like every week. So once a week, we'll make one episode specifically for something that somebody suggested. And today, we're not hopping into Spider-Man. We're hopping into Spider-Girl. Who is she? The next generation of Spidey excitement starts here in What If 105. This came out in 1989, written by Tom DeFlacco and Ron Frenz. So we're going to hop right in. First appearance of Mayday Parker. We start in high school at Midtown High, where Peter used to go. Instinctively, you glance at the game clock, confirming what you already know. Time is running out, and the Hollis Court Crusaders still lead by a single point. Even as the home court crowd roars its encouragement, you feel a sudden chill, as if more than a simple game were at stake. As if tonight were destined to mark a major turning point in your life. So we pick up with Mayday Parker, who is a basketball star. On the contrast of what Peter was in high school, where he was a nerd, he was a loser, she is a very popular basketball star. Her popularity kind of seems what it came from Mary Jane. We see her dribbling down, the final seconds tick away as you race down the court, and that's when you begin to feel it. A strange tingling sensation in the back of your skull, which seems to guide you like some uncanny sixth sense as you zigzag past your desperate opponents. Nothing can stop you now. You're in your zone. So she's got like spider powers already. She didn't get bit by no spider, she just inherited them from Peter. But then we cut to her smashing the basketball post as she just slam dunks, jumps like 8 feet in the air, slamming heat. My name is Mayday Parker, and today is the first day of the rest of your life. So after destroying that goalpost, she's going crazy. She's caught in the euphoria of the moment. Her parents are like, what the hell? Mary Jane goes on, nobody normal can jump that high. And Peter stutters, don't leap to conclusions, it's okay, maybe there's a way to explain all this. So they go and talk to May after she's done. They move slowly because of your father's chronic limp, and you have time to shower and change. So we see that Peter is not Spider-Man anymore, and he has a limp. He hurt his leg. We'll see what happened to his leg later on. But that's the big takeaway. There is no Spider-Man. He's retired, and he's happily married, and he has a kid that's in high school, and his wife didn't die from cancer like in Spider-Man Reign. But Mary Jane goes and congratulates her daughter and says, that's impressive. How did you do that? Mayday responds, I have no idea, but we're talking a college scholarship if I keep doing that. Maybe even the pros. And then we see a suspicious figure in the window that looks like the Green Goblin. The strange tingling unexpectedly returns, but you don't know why. Then we see Peter and Mayday both get the spider sense go off. My spider sense is warning me of danger. And Peter thinks, I know that expression on her face, like I just felt it. Does she have my powers? But while he's thinking, Mayday's friends scream at her, like, hey, are you going to go hang out with us after that victory? She says, no, I already made plans with other people. I'm so sorry. But her other friends say, you can go to the party. It's fine. You belong with your teammates. You won. Mayday says, instead, we should all just hang out together. And then our friend Moose says, no, I'm not an idiot. I'm not doing that. He's basically just the Flash Thompson. So they go off and leave. Meanwhile, Peter and May go home, and Peter says, our daughter obviously takes a lot more from you than me. I'd say her biggest problem is that she's a bit too popular. And May responds, I'm worried that she took some of your traits, the wrong traits, which is being Spider-Man. And this is where May goes into, we were wrong to keep the secrets from her. And Peter replies, I don't know if we were. All I know for sure is that I'd do anything to keep her safe and assure her happiness. I still remember the day I first held her. She was a little miracle. I wanted to spend every waking moment with the two of you, but I had other responsibilities. At least I thought I did. It's almost funny how things eventually worked out. May was only 2 years old when I had my final confrontation with Norman Osborn, the original Green Goblin. That battle cost him his life, and I lost, well, any desire to continue my dual identity. Since I was no longer Spider-Man, I didn't see any reason to burden her with the knowledge of my past. So what we learn is, Peter gave up being Spider-Man after that. Is that what happened to his leg? Yes, it is. They'll get into it more later, but honestly, it doesn't really matter. Just know that he lost his leg, he quit being Spider-Man, and the Green Goblin, the original Norman Osborn, croak-boated fighting. But picking up with Mayday again, she's walking with her friends. As nights go, you've had better. Jimmy is sulking about something, and Courtney has a mad-on for anyone who's ever played a team sport. You turn towards Jimmy, hoping to enlist his aid, when suddenly you feel the tingling again. It's different this time, though. Sharper, more insistent. And though you don't exactly know why, you instinctively realize you gotta move now. What surprise did they get on their walk? A little pumpkin bomb thrown at them. Nobody wants a pumpkin bomb thrown at them. It's a horrible surprise. But they get up and say, "What was that? What happened?" And then we see Green Goblin show up. You children needn't fear me. Not as long as the Parker girl delivers a message. Tell your father that the Green Goblin returned and that we have unfinished business. Mayday responds, "How do you know my dad?" I was about to say Norman, but it's not Norman. Spoiler alert, he didn't come back from the dead. This is a new person. You be surprised, young May. I'll meet him at the bridge at midnight tomorrow. She responds, "What bridge? Like, I don't know bridge." He says, "Trust me, he'll know." So she takes that news back to Parker, and Peter freaks out. "The Green Goblin?" And Mayday says, "Yeah, that's what he called himself. Is it a case of mistaken identity? I know that Dad works in a police lab and all, but how does he know the Green Goblin?" So we learn that Peter is actually a cop still, so he still fights crime. He still has the responsibility to stop criminals. He just doesn't do it as Spider-Man anymore because he lost his leg, which is a real shame because I thought he'd be way better as like a scientist or something than a cop, but whatever. So Peter sends May and Mary Jane upstairs, and he thinks to himself, Norman Osborn is dead and his son Harry's also dead. But he had a son named Normie, who should be about 19 or 20. His mother remarried, and I haven't talked to them in years. So he calls his old buddy, and he's like, "Hey, how's Normie's mom?" And he replies, "Oh, she's doing pretty bad. Also, Normie, I haven't seen that guy in a bit since he learned about his mom being sick." His friend's name is Nelson, and I feel like it is Foggy Nelson, but I'm not. It's not confirmed. But Mary Jane comes downstairs and talks to Peter. May's friends are doing all right considering the fright that they've had. How are you holding up? And Peter responds, "When does it end, Mary Jane? How many lives have to be ruined before we've seen the last of Norman Osborn's legacy of evil? If only there should have been something that I could have done." So Mary Jane goes on, "We've had 13 years of a normal life." Shut up, Peter. And he goes on, "Maybe you were right. We should have told May that she's the daughter of Spider-Man." And of course, May is sitting on the staircase just listening in fucking eye view. Like, what are you guys doing? But Mary Jane goes on, "She's strong and independent. I might have screwed up in our lives, but we did all right as parents. She can handle the truth. Besides, she has a right to know who she is, especially if her powers start kicking in." And May is like, "Oh my God, I have powers?" But then we cut to Osborn Industries, or what it seems to be left of, and we see Normie has a bunch of tattoos all over him, and this man went crazy on these tattoos. He goes, "You murdered my grandfather, you killed my dad, now it's time for me to avenge their deaths. It's my responsibility to reclaim their honor. Deep within the innermost recesses of their heart, I'm certain my mother has secretly prayed for this moment. Now that she's safe from harm, I'm ready to take up the mantle of my father and his father before him. At long last, I shall finally put an end to the cycle of hate, which you began, Spider-Man." And he's got a tattoo that says, "Honor thy father, kill the spider, revenge." He's got tattoos that say hate on the knuckles. I mean, this guy is crazy. He cannot go into public looking like this. And that is coming from a man with a bunch of tattoos all over his arm also. But Peter, not knowing what to do, he goes and sees the Fantastic Five. And we see the team is The Thing, Johnny Storm, Mr. Terrific, some random lady, and Herbie. What kind of team is this? He goes in to the front and is like, "Hey, it's me. I'm here to see the Human Torch. Can you get him? It's a personal matter." And she responds, "Yeah, that guy's gone. All of them are gone in a deep space mission, Mr. Parker. It's okay. I don't need him anyways. It's fine." So he leaves and he's like, "That was my plan, is that have Johnny back me up whenever I fight Normie. I need to stop thinking of him as little Normie. That could be my mistake. He's an adult, and I'm sure all he wants to do is have me killed." Mary Jane thinks I should turn this matter over to my precinct commander, but it's too much personal history. What can I do? So coming back with May, after she learns what she is, she does 20 straight swishes. That's nuts. But she's glooming about how she thought her athletic skills were because she was a hard worker. And then she's like, wait, if I have all these powers, maybe I can just jump around. And she jumps around the gym facility. Her friend pops in and she's like, oh, hey, I'm not a freak. Anyways, it's really good to see you. I got a dip. Peter goes and sees the Avengers. They let him in thinking that he's just working with the police department. But Peter's like, yep, I'm just here to work on a current case. And he thinks to himself, I'm surprised it took me long to think of the Avengers. These guys are all-stars. But I wonder who's on the team now, that it's been ages. He shows up, and I don't recognize anybody besides the Juggernaut. And I want to say she is wearing a trench coat that looks like Jubilee and the glasses. So I want to think that's Jubilee, but honestly, I have no idea. And I see Vision on the TV screen. But he's like, dang, these guys are too young to help me out. Like, I don't even know what to do. So he just leaves, and he's like, oh, man, I could barely exit with my dignity. How those kids are on the Avengers, and I'm an adult. So then we go back to May and Mary Jane talking, and this is where May confronts Mary Jane. I overheard you tell Dad that I could handle it, so please, Mom, please let me handle it. All of it. Mary Jane says, not until you change your tone. And May responds, you don't get it, Mom. The absence of truth is a lie. Thanks to you and Dad, I don't know who I am anymore. All I know is that I'm a freak, but I have no idea what that means. And Mary Jane responds, you're your father's daughter. He was Spider-Man. And I'll concede that it's our fault that you were in the dark for so long, but cut me a little slack. I'm going to try to explain the factors behind our decision. So Mary Jane drags May upstairs, shows May the Spider-Man suit in the chest, and May responds, I can see how you were trying to protect me, but you should have known it wouldn't work. Even if Normie hadn't gone crackers, the emergence of my powers would have been a dead giveaway. Besides, you can't save someone from who she is or from the responsibility she shares. She picks up Peter's old suit, looks at it, and then she puts it down, grabs Ben Reilly's suit, and is like, hey, how come there are two different suits? And May responds, that one belonged to your Uncle Ben. And we learn that Uncle Ben died before May was even born. And May points out, this spider thing sort of runs in our family, I guess. Kind of like the Osborns and their green scene. Mom, what will Dad do about Normie? And Mary Jane goes on, what he always does. He'll make things right if he can. So we catch up with Peter on the bridge. And I'm guessing this is the same bridge that he fought Green Goblin at the very end when Gobby died. Which I also assume this would be the bridge where Gwen Stacy dies. Something about Peter Parker and bridges is just, I don't know why. There's that one comic where he hangs himself. Well, he doesn't really hang himself. Never mind, I'm not going on about that. But the takeaway is that he loves bridges. Anyways, Normie shows up and throws a pumpkin bomb. And he says, hey, Uncle Pete, you didn't wear your play clothes. You were supposed to be Spider-Man. And Peter says he doesn't exist anymore. He died the same night your grandfather did. There's no need for us to fight. And Normie says, I'm afraid you're wrong. You say Spider-Man is dead, you one-legged loser, but you're still breathing. My grandfather isn't. My dad isn't. This war ends when I stand over Spider-Man's corpse. I'll get you to change in that costume. I can be very persuasive. And we see him pick up Peter, and Peter's gun is there. Police special. And then we have somebody show up and scream, put him down, Normie. And it's none other than Mary Jane in her car. She will do literally nothing. But she uses the power of nostalgia on Normie and says, we have nothing to fear. We used to babysit you. We bounced you on your knees. And Normie says, nice try, Aunt May. But you should have listened to Uncle Pete, because he brought a gun. He was going to kill me. Green Goblin versus Spider-Man is going to end one way, to the death. And Peter says, he's crazy, Mary Jane. You got to get out of here. He grabs Mary Jane's face, and he's like, I'm going to give you one last chance to put on your costume, or I'm going to destroy Aunt M's pretty face. And then we get somebody else show up. You face it, Tiger. You hit the jackpot. You want a spider person, Normie? Mayday's up here in Ben Reilly's outfit. And I love Ben Reilly's suit so much. And she's got the little gauntlets on the outside, or the little web shooters on the outside. Oh, so good. Peter is freaking out because he's like, oh my God, she's Spider-Man. And Mary Jane just lies and is like, I told her everything, but I didn't think that she would be Spider-Man. What did you think would happen? So now we have Normie versus Aunt May. Normie goes on, your father I need to destroy, not you. Get out of here. And May says, sorry, Normie, but my dad's been retired since your grandfather blew off his leg. So she thwips his hand and he burns it off because he's got electric powers. So they keep fighting, going up the bridge. May already knows what to do with the quips. Like, that must be a power that they have. She's throwing out quips like it's nothing. And Peter can't help but sit there and be like, she no ball. She doing amazing. She's doing well keeping him off balance. And then we get into what Normie's main motivation is. You're going to die like my mother. And May says, what about your mom, Normie? Like, Aunt Liz was never part of this. How would she feel about you being the Green Goblin? And he's like, shut up. Stop calling me Normie. I'm the Green Goblin. She avoids his little razors that he throws. She starts swinging with her new web shooters and just kicks Normie down. And May goes on, we were talking about Aunt Liz, Normie, your mom. And Normie says, leave her out of this. She's not an Osborn. Grandpa never accepted her into the family. So May rebuttals, this is the guy you're trying to emulate? The one who dissed your mom? Man, you've got some issues. Think about it, Normie. She raised you, and this is how you repay her? Hope you really attach that mask, because don't you dare show your face to her again. And Normie, getting heated, pulls out a pumpkin bomb, and she says, at last, he pulls out another pumpkin bomb, and a smile spreads beneath your mask because you've been secretly keeping track of all of his toys. And she thwips his hand with the pumpkin bomb. Normie says, you're an idiot because I'm just going to, take off this webbing. And May says, go ahead and try it because if you do your electric powers with the bomb there, it's going to blow up the bomb. And he says, oh, really? And then he just does it. He explodes. And Peter, again on the sidelines, is like, yeah, fuck yeah, that's my daughter. Woo, yeah. And then we show Normie falling down. His hand is perfectly fine. His suit protected his hand, but he's basically almost unconscious. She saves him, punches him in the face, and then the police come and arrest Normie. And May says, I know he tried to kill us, but I do kind of feel bad for Normie. That's kind of stupid, right? Normie's in the corner going crazy. And then we hear, Spider-Girl, this guy's really lost it. I wonder what happened to our real Spider-Man anyways. And this is where we learn that Daredevil was actually killed. So not everybody gets a happy ending. Surprisingly, Peter has a better ending than Matt Murdock. That's crazy. But with all this over, we go out and we see that Aunt May, Peter, and Mary Jane go outside and they just start burning all the memorabilia. You spend the next few hours in a police station answering questions and making statements, but never once mentioned Spider-Girl. No one mentions her, not even Normie, who has taken the blame as he stares at blank walls. You return home, and your family instinctively gathers for an impromptu ceremony, a farewell of sorts. You desperately want to reassure your parents that they have nothing to fear, that everything will return to normal, but you can't. You cannot predict the future. All you know for sure is that your name is Mayday Parker, and this could be the first day of the rest of your life. Ashley's got a new suit, new web shooters upstairs, so she's gonna keep being Spider-Girl. Anyways, thank you for listening, watching, however you choose to enjoy. That was our first fan suggestion video. So make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. We're gonna go ahead and end it. Peace out.